Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have something very interesting for you guys, a video that I wanted to make for a while now. It's going to be talking about why playing against Adamancipator sucks. And this has come up in my friend group for a while. As you all probably know, Sam has been playing Adamancipator ever since it came out. And recently two other friends of mine, Sha and Gij, started playing the deck as well. And that kind of made us shift a little bit in the testing section of our friendship. Because what it comes down to is I really don't want to play against Sam's deck anymore, because I am just sick and tired of Adamancipators. And that is exactly why I made this video today, to talk about why playing against the deck is so horrible, and to actually, with 3 points that I'm going to talk about, why it sucks so specifically to play against the deck. The first point that I'm going to talk about is the deck and the mechanics of itself. The second point is the ease of use of the deck. And the third point is Yu-Gi-Oh! Evolves. Which is going to talk generically about why playing against this specific deck is just a way different experience than any other tier 0 deck, what it comes down to. To talk about the first point, the deck. Adamancipator is a really broken deck. We've all known it for quite a while now. Ending on boards with a Palosa, either a Dragite or a Savage if you're bad, IP, Block Dragon, everything. The deck is just really good, but not like insane. You know, the end field is not unbreakable. You can break the board. That's actually quite easy to do, but it's really difficult to win afterwards. So what I'm first going to talk about is the card quality. And I will have some nice cards here. Like the first one that we're going to talk about is Researcher, and Analyzer, and Seeker as well. Because they are the 3 main monsters of Adamancipator. Because what's really weird to think is normally a deck is really good and they have like a lot of main deck cards. Adamancipator has 3 monsters, and the rest of the cards are not played, except Synchros, of course. These monsters are really good, because they are really easy and free to abuse. Because all you need to do is get lucky. And if you play the right ratios, you will get lucky a high percentage of the time, which makes a card like Researcher really good, because it's really easy to get value out of. They all have effects they can just use. They don't have to be special summoned. They don't have any summon restrictions. You can just normal summon them or special summon them by their effects. You know, the fair thing is they are once per turn, so you can't really complain, I guess. But I'm still gonna, because it's male guardian, and nice job. But yeah, those cards are just really good. And of course, what everybody is always saying is the rock archetype never really was good until now, because they always had really good cards, but nothing to make them work. And that's exactly what they do. They summon the cards that were really good, the minors, and they make them work. They give cards like Doki Doki a purpose that it never had. Tackle Crusader, Revival Golem, Quackimaru Guardian. We're even playing the, what's it called? Weeping Idol? That's a card now? Sure. But the thing is, the deck is just so strong. The value of summoning a monster and summoning another monster from it is like... Remember when we played Lightsworn Synchro with Brilliant Fusion and the Predaplant engine? Remember how good it was to stop a Predaplant, to Ash Scorpio, because you summoned a card from deck that searched another card? Well, Researcher is that on steroids without a cost. It's just way better than that. And again, with the right build, you can always hit. You can just always hit. Just hit hit a rock and summon a rock, and then you have your Hulk. I'm not really going into the Hulk Vibrex arguments here, because that card is broken indeed. And we all know that. We all know that. But the entire extra deck, like, they all have just normal cards. Like, it's nothing, it's like just IP, just Apollosa, just Dragite. Like, all these cards are not really good, but Block Dragon makes it really insane. And of course, we're not sure what the ban list will do. At least I hope that when this video comes up, there is no ban list yet, because that would be a shame. Konami, don't. But it's just, the deck is so strong. It's so consistent. It's super consistent. You just need to make a Hulk, which is of course a problem, but after that, it's free. You can, with the combo I've shown on my channel before, just one Hulk is full Adamancipator combo, because you can make a Dragite generically, which is really insane. A Dragite is also, or Reptite. That's what I meant. But Reptide is just really, really strong in summoning any rock, and hitting an Adamancipator is even better, and then you have the Block Dragon searching all the other cards. And it just makes for a really consistent deck, which is kind of different than before. Because remember, for example, a deck that was really, really good last year was Thunder Dragon Combo. Thunder Dragon Combo had a lot of different points that it hit. You know, it's really strong, the monsters are really strong, the end port is really, really good, but the drawback is that it can brick. It's not the most consistent deck of all. And like, the card quality, you're playing literal Thunder Dragon. It's a good card, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Quakimeru Guardian. The thing there is that, you know, it's kind of like a star. You know, it hits this point, this point, this point, but of course then the other points are not so good. Like a Shadow deck, it's like Shadow is really, really good. It's consistent, it works, it has powerful monsters, but the end board is not threatening at all because it doesn't negate anything. You have a Winda, which can be outed. So, you know, each deck fills out each bit of the star very differently. But not Adamancipator. Adamancipator just hits every end of the star. It's consistent, the end board is insane, it can go second for reasons unknown, because Deco Crusader came out in Battle Pack 3. So now now it's a good go second card. Why not? But it has all these really, really strong things going for itself, and it has everything. It can play through fields, it can make fields, it can play through hand traps, it can play hand traps, it can do everything. There's no weak side, which is a total difference from other decks that we've seen recently. Like, for example, Orcust dies to a lot of things, and Thunder Dragon died to everything, and all the other combo decks this format, they die to other stuff as well, you know. If you play Eldlik Jet Synchron Turbo, it dies to literally any hand trap, then you have to deal with the rest of the deck, which is a point entirely different. But the difference is that this deck just basically always ends on a combo. I know you can stop it, I know the deck can brick, but that situation is way more unlikely than the fact that it can actually end on a really, really strong field. Which is why I think it's such a difference. So the second point I wanted to talk about is the ease of use of the deck. Because previously a deck like Thunder Dragon Combo was really, really difficult to play. Because you need to think of a lot of things before you can actually build that board. After a long while, of course, you can play. It's really easy. But I've never seen a combo deck that's so easy to use as Adamancipator. It's literally follow this path. And the deck even rewards itself for being being a deck. Like, you normal summon your Researcher and you hit a rock and that's it. There's no line of play, you know. You don't have to think about, oh, if I summon my Batteryman Solar, will they Ash? What will I do then? What is my correct first play, you know? But this deck is like, oh, I just do things. And of course it has protection as well, which is another point of the star. If you hit Guardian, you won. And if your hand is really good, for example, just like Doki Researcher Seeker, which is not really difficult for the deck to open, you can even make a Herald and insta-win from there as well, because it just can stop every hand trap. So this deck is like everything going on to be tier 0, and it's really broken. Because if you're a good player and you play around the hand traps and you play correctly, 100% correctly, then you will most likely always win, because you're a really, really good player. But if you're not the best player, the deck still can just do the things for you. You know, it's not really difficult to summon a rock, summon Researcher, summon Guardian from the mill. That's not a difficult thing to do. It's just how the deck works sometimes. And if you're sitting across that and you have your Nibiru, or you have your Gamma, or you have your Vader, like, what are you gonna do really? Because they can just extend. And against a good player, those cards will probably not matter at all. But against a bad player, they might. Or they might stop their turn, and if they play it out correctly, maybe it will. But if they just summon Guardian, then it just won't. Imagine just like Guardian, summon Researcher, summon Seeker. Okay, it hits everything on the being a good deck checklist. And after that, it's really easy to play as well. Because trust me, when I played my Destiny Hero Soulkin deck, that was really difficult to pilot. But it was still, you need to learn, you know, you need to learn your combo, and you need to learn how to adapt your hand. But a deck like this doesn't need to adapt, it just does. Just does things. And I know that's power creep. Of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Always needs to have better cards. But Eldlik is a better deck than decks we've seen before, and that is not tier 0 or close to being as broken as Adamancipator is. Reason number 3 why this deck is an issue. Because back when, you know, people always say we've had tier 0 formats, and of course I played in Pepe format myself. I haven't played in the Teletet format, but I have played in Pepe format, and trust me, that was a wild ride. It's different, because back when your opponent made an unbreakable board, even going a little bit farther than Pepe, making 3 Quasar, you just can't out that back then. And that's an issue, of course. We've evolved. We've gotten tools. We've gotten used to, you know, back when, if you made an unbreakable board, you won. Basically, that's it. Because what's gonna play through it? Your 1 Dark Hole. There is no Regeki or Kaiju. What it is nowadays is we've gotten so used to all these tools, like Nibiru, like our 1000 hand traps, like evenly matched, Lightning Storm, 3 Dark Hole if you're really enthusiastic, I guess. But all these tools are just being broken by the deck, by Guardian, by Herald. All the tools that we've gotten used to, it's just entirely different. Back then you couldn't do anything about it, but you know, not everybody played a really good combo deck. And by the time really good combo decks really became a thing and people really started using it, except your, like, I played Dark Synchro on locals. That one guy, you know. Now everybody plays it and everybody can play it, but we got used to that. We remaining Ash, remaining Ogre, remaining Nibiru. We evolved, you know. Remember Spiral format where people were playing Draw and Buckbird and all the hand traps in the main because it was really good. But all those tools are really not so good anymore because the deck can either play around it, or the tools are not good against other decks because there are still other decks. You're not playing 4 times Adamancipator at your locals, I hope. I hope you're not playing against 4 Adamancipator at your locals, because that's not good. But the difference is, if you compare back when to now, it's so different because the Thunder Dragon combo, it didn't win every YCS. And if I'm gonna be totally honest, if there were a YCS right now, the chance that Adamancipator would just be top cut, I can say with a pretty high percentage of chance that that's really likely, because the deck is just so insane and free. And if you're good with the deck, then you get rewarded, but if you're not so good with the deck, you can still get rewarded, which is different, because back when you could not get away with so much. Like if you're playing Adamancipator right now as the only person at your local, you've probably won. High percentage. Our locals gets won by Adamancipator way too much, and other locals that I attend as well. Of course, there are other decks that win that are featured on my channel, because I don't want Adamancipator to be on my channel 2,000 times. But theoretically, everybody should just play the deck because it is the best deck and it's not difficult to use and it's actually quite cheap for such a good deck. But no one has been playing it, and honestly, it's because it's not fun to play. That's what I hear from my friends. That's what I heard from Shah, that he won a local and he said it kind of feels empty because I didn't do anything. I just played my deck every time and they couldn't win, and that's exactly how it works. You're not being rewarded for being better. You're not being rewarded for being skillful. You're winning the local because your deck is inherently broken, and not because any other reason. Which is kind of why I do this rant in the first place, because I just don't think that a deck like this should really exist, and it should be addressed on the next ban list at least, because I really hope that we're not going to be in this format for way longer, and I really hope that the ban list hits just slightly the consistency of the deck, because that's all it needs to do. What I would really want from this deck is basically, to the extreme, is Herald banned and Guardian banned, but more likely Doki Doki to 1 and Guardian to 1, because if those 2 cards are at 1, then power level of the deck just gets slowed down way much, and the consistency gets hurt so much, and then hand traps become good again. And you know, if this is just like a Thunder Dragon deck, then it's fine, because Thunder Dragon could be beaten and everything can be beaten, but this deck is way too much right now. It's just honestly way too much right now, and really not fun to play, because you're sitting down and you have like Ash, and they do normal summon Guardian, special summon Researcher. Pretty much game. You can literally pick up your cards and walk away, because there's no point in sitting at this duel. because their combo is really easy. They're gonna play it out correctly. They're gonna end on something, and next turn you might play through it, but you're not gonna OTK them because their field is just way too big. And then afterwards they just kill you next turn because they have all the resources that they ever could desire, because Block Dragon is a card. So that was kind of my rant. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like, comment down below and subscribe. And tell me what rock is the one that you hate the most. Mine is Doki Doki. But yeah, I really hope that you guys like this kind of style of video. I really like the setup of this, and I really like doing stuff like this. And I really hope that my point came across. And that it kind of becomes clear why this deck is such an issue. Not necessarily me being salty. Comment down below, baby rage. But no, it's just more coming across of why this deck is so different than other decks from back when, because it's just such a different experience playing against this than playing against Pepe. You're not expecting to win against Pepe, but you know, you are expecting nowadays with all the tools you have, the kind of things that you've prepared for the local, and you should be preparing yourself to win, and you should not be scooping because your opponent summons 2 rocks. One of them is a tuner. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I really, again, hope you liked this kind of video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.